Somewhere out there, a tourist reaches out to pet a colorful creature they spotted on a hiking trail, and that single moment of curiosity changes everything. Nature has a rule that most of us were never taught in school: the most dangerous things rarely announce themselves. They don't roar, they don't charge, they don't warn you. They simply exist, perfectly armed, and they wait. A bright color, a slow crawl, an unbothered stillness, these aren't invitations. They're final warnings you almost never recognize until it's too late. This isn't about the obvious predators, the lions, the sharks, the creatures that feature in nightmares. This is about the ones you might actually reach out and touch. The ones that look harmless, fascinating, even beautiful. Because in nature, curiosity has a cost, and sometimes that cost is your life. Today we're counting down the animals you should never, under any circumstances, touch, creatures whose entire defense system activates the moment you make contact. Some will kill you. Some will cause suffering you can't imagine. All of them prove the same brutal truth: in the wild, a single touch can be the last mistake you ever make. They look like living shadows pressed flat against the ocean floor, wide, smooth, almost beautiful in the way they glide and settle into the sand. The stingray is perhaps one of the most deceptively peaceful-looking creatures in the ocean. No teeth bared, no threatening posture, no warning display. Just a flat, elegant animal minding its own business, half buried in the sand, completely unbothered by the world above it. That's exactly the problem. You don't have to provoke a stingray. You don't even have to notice it. All it takes is one misplaced step on a shallow ocean floor, or one curious hand reaching down toward what looks like a smooth, harmless surface. The moment pressure hits its body, instinct takes over, and that tail moves faster than your brain can register what's happening. The barbed spine drives upward with shocking force, pumping venom into the wound instantly. What follows isn't a sting. It's a deep, searing, bone-level pain that survivors consistently describe as unlike anything they've ever felt. Steve Irwin, a man who spent his life handling deadly animals, was killed by one in seconds. The stingray doesn't hate you. It's just built to survive contact. It looks like something straight out of a cartoon: vivid orange and black feathers, a cheerful size, the kind of bird that wouldn't look out of place on an animated greeting card. Found in the rainforests of New Guinea, the hooded patogui is the sort of creature that makes you want to get closer, maybe even cup it gently in your hands if you were lucky enough to find one sitting still. That instinct could genuinely hurt you. The patogui holds a distinction almost no other bird on Earth shares: it is toxic. Not venomous in the way a snake delivers poison through a bite, but passively, persistently poisonous through its very skin and feathers. The toxin it carries, batrachotoxin, is the same class of neurotoxin found in the infamous poison dart frogs of South America. Scientists believe the bird acquires it through its diet, but however it gets there, it stays there waiting on every feather. Touch it, and your hands begin to tingle and burn. Get it near your eyes or mouth and the effects escalate fast. No bite needed. No warning sound. Just a beautiful little bird that nature quietly loaded like a weapon and left sitting in the trees. There is something almost hypnotic about the fire salamander. It moves slowly, deliberately, with an almost theatrical confidence, bold yellow patches blazing against jet black skin like a warning label designed by nature itself. It doesn't run. It doesn't hide. It simply walks through the forest floor as if it knows, with complete certainty, that nothing is going to bother it. That stillness, combined with those striking colors, creates a magnetic pull that's genuinely hard to resist. And that's the trap. Those colors aren't decoration, they're a broadcast. In biology, this is called aposematism, bright patterns that scream "don't touch me" to anything with survival instincts. The problem is humans have largely overridden those instincts with curiosity. So instead of retreating, we reach out. The salamander doesn't flinch. It doesn't need to. The moment your skin makes contact, glands across its body release a cocktail of toxic secretions, causing immediate burning, irritation, and in higher doses, serious neurological effects. It just sits there while it poisons you. No drama, no struggle. Just chemistry doing what millions of years of evolution designed it to do. We're halfway through this list, and trust me, it only gets worse from here. Subscribe and like the video so you never miss nature's next warning. Nothing about the assassin bug demands your attention. It's small, thin, angular, the kind of insect you'd brush off a picnic table without a second thought, or absent-mindedly flick away from your arm without ever really looking at it. It doesn't have dramatic colors or an intimidating size. It just exists quietly in the background, and that invisibility is precisely what makes it so dangerous. Because this insect isn't built to frighten you. It's built to puncture you. The assassin bug carries a rostrum, a hardened, needle-sharp beak folded neatly beneath its head, and when it decides to use it, there is no build-up, no warning, no escalation. It stabs. Directly, efficiently, and with a speed that feels almost personal. But the puncture itself isn't even the worst part. Through that needle, it injects digestive enzymes into your tissue, the same enzymes it uses to liquefy prey from the inside out. What you feel is an immediate, chemical-grade burning that spreads outward from the site with shocking intensity. People consistently describe it as wildly disproportionate to the size of the creature responsible. And they're right. The assassin bug is proof that in nature, the smallest packages sometimes carry the most punishment. The platypus has always had the energy of a creature assembled from leftover parts: a duck's bill, an otter's body, a beaver's tail, and the general vibe of an animal that evolution couldn't quite commit to. It's become something of a cultural punchline, the mascot of biological absurdity, and that reputation makes it one of the most disarmingly non-threatening animals on the planet. People see a platypus and they smile. They want to pick it up. That instinct is a mistake, specifically if the one you're reaching for is male. Hidden on the hind legs of every male platypus are small, sharp spurs connected directly to venom glands. They aren't decorative. They aren't vestigial. They work. A strike from those spurs delivers a venom that, unlike most animal toxins, cannot be treated with standard painkillers. Morphine barely touches it. The pain is described as an immediate, electric agony that doesn't fade the way normal pain does. It lingers, sometimes for weeks, occasionally for months, with a hypersensitivity that makes the affected area unbearable to even brush against. The platypus never stopped being funny-looking. It just never needed to. The joke, it turns out, is entirely on you. If you ever find yourself standing close enough to a cassowary to appreciate the details, the electric blue neck, the prehistoric casque rising from its skull like a helmet, the dense black feathers that look less like a bird and more like something that survived a mass extinction, then you have already made a critical error in judgment. The cassowary doesn't issue warnings the way most large animals do. There's no prolonged display, no ritualized aggression to give you time to back away slowly. It simply decides, and then it moves. For a bird, it is shockingly fast, and what it carries on its feet makes speed almost secondary. Each inner toe is tipped with a dagger-like claw measuring up to 4 inches long, and the legs driving those claws are pure, coiled muscle capable of delivering kicks that have disemboweled humans. It is widely considered the most dangerous bird on Earth, and it earned that title honestly. Zookeepers train extensively around them. Locals in New Guinea and Northern Australia treat them with the kind of respectful distance most people reserve for apex predators. Because that's functionally what the cassowary is, a 6-foot, 130-pound predatory bird wearing the evolutionary memory of the dinosaurs it descended from. It's just an ant. That's the first thought, and it's the thought that gets people in trouble. Small, dark, moving purposefully through the leaf litter of Central and South American rainforests, the bullet ant doesn't look like a creature that has built a fearsome reputation across both indigenous cultures and modern entomology. It looks like something you'd find in your kitchen. Then it stings you, and the world reorganizes itself around that single fact. The name isn't poetic exaggeration. Justin Schmidt, the entomologist who famously catalogued insect sting pain on a structured scale, placed the bullet ant alone at the very top, a category of its own, described as pure, intense, brilliant pain, like walking over flaming charcoal with a 3-inch nail embedded in your heel. Indigenous communities in the Amazon have used bullet ant stings as coming-of-age rituals, requiring young men to wear gloves filled with the ants for 10 full minutes. The survivors describe the aftermath as waves of throbbing, burning agony that don't peak and fade. They build, roll, and persist for up to 24 hours. No venom, no wound, no visible damage. Just pain, relentless and total, from something you could crush between 2 fingers. It looks like a tiny toupee that fell out of a tree. Soft, rounded, covered in what appears to be the most touchable fur in the entire insect world, the puss caterpillar is genuinely, almost unfairly, cute. It moves slowly across leaves and branches in the southeastern United States looking like a living cotton ball, and every instinct the human brain has developed around soft, small, slow-moving things says the same thing: touch it. That instinct is catastrophically wrong. Beneath that deceptively luxurious coat of hair lies a completely different architecture: rows of sharp venomous spines, perfectly concealed, angled outward in every direction. The fur isn't just decoration. It's camouflage for a weapon. The moment skin makes contact, those spines break off and embed themselves instantly, releasing venom directly into the tissue with no delay between touch and consequence. The pain arrives like a switch being flipped. People describe it as an immediate, spreading burn that radiates outward from the contact point like heat moving through metal. Some compare it to a scorching brand pressed against the skin. Welts form, the area swells, and the regret is both physical and deeply personal. It is, without question, the most expensive-looking mistake you can make in your backyard. There is almost nothing about it that should register as dangerous. It's the size of a paperclip, moves with the unhurried calm of something that has never been threatened in its entire evolutionary history, and glows a vivid, almost impossible yellow that makes it look less like a living animal and more like a piece of jewelry someone dropped on the forest floor. The golden poison frog is, by any measure, one of the most visually stunning creatures in nature. It is also, gram for gram, one of the most lethal. There is no bite. No venom delivery system, no stinger, no barb. The frog doesn't attack because it doesn't need to. Every square millimeter of its skin is saturated with batrachotoxin, a neurotoxin so potent that a single frog carries enough to kill approximately 10 adult humans. Indigenous Embra hunters in Colombia have historically used it to coat blowgun darts, requiring no direct contact beyond a careful scrape. A single touch is sufficient. The toxin crosses skin contact almost immediately, blocking nerve signals to the heart and muscles with a speed that leaves almost no window for intervention. The golden poison frog doesn't hunt. It doesn't need to. It simply exists, and existence is enough. It looks like something that escaped from a science fiction concept: electric blue, silver-winged, drifting through the surface of the open ocean with the weightless grace of a creature that has never once worried about survival. The blue dragon sea slug is extraordinary to look at, small enough to sit comfortably in the palm of your hand, and visually unlike almost anything else on Earth. If you found one washed onto a beach, every instinct would tell you to pick it up. That would be the most elegant mistake you ever made. The blue dragon doesn't produce its own venom. Instead, it hunts creatures like the Portuguese man-o'-war, one of the ocean's most notoriously painful animals, and rather than being harmed by their stinging cells, it consumes them, stores them, and concentrates them in specialized sacs along its own body. It doesn't just borrow the toxin. It amplifies it. Touch it, and you aren't meeting one creature's defense system. You're absorbing a curated collection of some of the ocean's most potent weaponry, delivered all at once through contact you didn't even realize was dangerous. The blue dragon is beautiful, passive, and utterly lethal. In a list full of creatures that punish curiosity, it is the ultimate example, nature's most perfect trap, dressed in the most stunning disguise.